take pride in the privilege of being American.
Oh, God.
We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be.
Buddy, my name is RJ Smith, and this thing of ours is called Crazy News Reacts, where I scour the globe for the craziest, weirdest, strangest, but true video news and bring it to you around the world. Welcome aboard. If this is your first time here, hit that like button right now. Go ahead. Woo! Yeah, you got it. And at the end of the video, if you like it, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and turn on your notification. And of course, if you want to make a comment, dude, do that. Go right ahead. Today I'm talking about the presidential race of 2024. I don't have a side, guys. I am just going to present to you what I heard, that Donald Trump is leading in all of the polls. It's a big change. But it's not surprising because Vice President Harris refuses to sit down for an interview and answer questions, period. I mean, what would you do different, Vice President Harris, if you were to become president? I can't think of a single thing. I mean, that right there ended it for her. She lost so much support. She's going to Hollywood parties. She's meeting with very rich donors. And what do you have on the other side? On this side, you got ex-president Donald J. Trump. He is going to hurricane zones. He is going to church. He is going to McDonald's and barbershops and just meeting with regular people. And let me tell you something. Regular people eat that up, because when have you seen Madam Kamala Harris in a cozy situation like that? I don't know. You guys watch this and you let me know at the end, and just write down your comments. I would love to read them. Pick your donkey, Harris or Trump, and then tell me why. Let's go.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street. You are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision. So that's where the
federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act.
Kamala Harris's honeymoon period is well and truly over. This week, Saturday Night Live once again roasted the VP in a hilarious skit that poked fun at her long-winded act. When SNL is doing skits like this, you know that they think Kamala's cooked. Mood shifted. I see zero on-the-ground excitement for her. The whole administration is a joke to normal people. A sick, sad, long joke that we're ready to be done with. And this commentator agreed, saying, "You know it's over when the Democrats have lost SNL. They just destroyed Kamala Harris."
And speaking of teleprompters, Vice President and would-be future Madam President Kamala Harris found herself speaking without a teleprompter this week. Let's see what sort of off-the-cuff words and wisdom she had to offer, shall we?
So when we think about what's at stake in this election, Whoa, it's packed with some stuff. It's packed with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's packed with some stuff, all right. Whew.
James Morrow then went on to reveal Kamala Harris's supporters are abandoning her in droves following her recent chaotic media appearances.
Despite these sorts of near-daily performances from Harris, the race between Donald Trump and Kamala is effectively tied. But there are some serious warning bells that key demographic groups without whom Harris cannot win the election, are abandoning her in droves. Like, for example, male voters who are worried about the economy and their jobs and for the most part don't know what a brat summer is and don't respond to the Democrats' scare campaign on abortion, which is about all the Democrats have left.
Sky News All-Stars Rita Panahi and Kosha Gada agree, highlighting another colossal Kamala media fail from the week.
Kosha, while Florida is hit with Hurricane Milton, which has pounded the state with ferocious 100-mile-per-hour winds, producing a series of devastating tornadoes, the vice president, the woman who wants to be leader of the free world, was kicking back, having a beer with late-night lefty TV host Stephen Colbert.
I'm just curious.
Okay, the last time I had beer was at a baseball game with Doug.
Okay, so cheers. There
cheers.
You go. There you go. Ooh.
Funny and turned into yet another leftist propaganda outfit. But out of nowhere, they surprised everyone by putting together this hilarious compilation of Kamala Harris and the fictional vice president, Selena Myers. So let's take a minute now and marvel at a US comedy program that has managed to produce comedy.
My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are a children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go.
Referred to as the Catholic Met Gala. 22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast.
Now, I know there's Christians out there who don't even consider Catholics Christian or etc. But again, at the end of the day, I think a lot of Christians, when they see this clip, will actually end up being unified.
I agree with that, because every president for, since Mondale, I think, has attended this dinner. Whether it's Democrat or Republican, they both come together and they kind of roast each other. It's a yearly thing. Presidents, vice presidents, and, certainly candidates are expected to show up. After all, it's a Catholic Jewish event. Like he said, in New York City, it's the most liberal place in the United States. So why didn't she show up? It does give a sense of disrespect, I think, by not showing up like every other president has done or candidate. It's like she's missing all of these softballs, right? She's swinging and she's swinging. Where was she on The View, I think, where they asked her if she would do anything different than Biden. And she said, I can't think of a single thing. And she wonders why people aren't satisfied with her message. Can somebody tell me what her policies are? What is her plan moving forward to get us out of this economic rut? It's like we're talking to an empty suit.
GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump is in Asheville right now, touring damage from Hurricane Helene. He's speaking right now. Let's listen in.
In this region, felt helpless and abandoned and left behind by their government. And yet in North Carolina's hour of desperation, the American people answered the call, much more so than your federal government, unfortunately. Citizens poured into western North Carolina from all over the country, bringing food, water, fuel, medical aid, even helicopters, and their own rescue standards started, and they started at a very high level, credible, what they've done. Having no experience, they learned very quickly, but they've helped so much. Nothing is more inspiring than to see the American spirit triumph over adversity with the most selfless acts of generosity and love.
Right there. Never even touch it, huh?
Exactly.
I was always wondering, wow, that's pretty good. We love you. Come here, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will. I promise. Thank you very much. That's on me. Okay? Have a good time. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the White House. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, fellas. Come on. We have another order coming up.
Today, former President Donald Trump laying a wreath at Arlington's National Cemetery Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony honored the 13 U.S. troops killed 3 years ago during the military withdrawal from Afghanistan. And that wasn't the former president's only appearance today in Northern Virginia. Trump then stopped by a Vietnamese restaurant at the Eden Center in Falls Church.
Lawrence Jones has been visiting blue cities with Fox's exclusive Barbershop Talk series. Last week, he had a very special guest, Donald Trump, join Lawrence at the Knockout Barbershop in the Bronx. You got to watch this.
So, Mr. President, I have a 5-year-old son that's in public schools right now. I have a lot of people asking me questions as far as the failing school systems that we have here in the Bronx. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to improve that in our school systems?
Well, we're moving them back from Washington, where you have people that don't care about New York, frankly. You know, in Washington, I don't know if you ever noticed this, you got Department of Education, Department of Education. You got half the buildings are Department of Education. I never saw. You don't need any of them. You know, I want one person and a secretary to just make sure they're teaching English, okay? Give it a little English, okay? I say reading, writing,
about former President Donald Trump. He shows up. The McDonald's piece the other day was brilliant. We haven't seen stuff like that since the old days. That is retail political science. I'm telling you right now, it was excellent. And not on top of that, he visits a black barbershop in the Bronx. He goes to black church. He goes, he's just doing everything. He's everywhere. Right? He's at the border, even though he's not president. He's at the disaster zone in Asheville after Hurricane Milton, which I suffered from too. It's like, what is the disconnect between her and him? He knows exactly what the people want, and she misses the opportunity. Imagine if she was the first one to get to McDonald's, but no, he beat her to that. And it's just incredible to me to watch this, that someone who wants to be our president doesn't even tell us what her policies will be, other than an opportunity economy. What the does that mean, folks? I mean, come on. And you can't hate it. You can hate it, but you can't deny it. Trump is a master at this kind of stuff. And that's why he is going to win the black vote as far as men are concerned. He has doubled his reach in the Hispanic community. I'm telling you, this is going to be a wipeout. And Unfortunately, you see that some of the more liberal media stations are freaking out, right? They're trying to come up with reasons why this is not working. And I'll tell you what, I think they should have kept Biden in there because Biden would have done better than her.
Be that this person we're championing literally cannot answer questions, including from, very, very sympathetic hosts. People were like slobbering all over her, like Howard Stern and Stephen Colbert. And I think that her team sort of felt pressure to sort of prove to the rich people who love her that she is up to the task, that she can land this thing. And so they sent her out on this media blitz, which of course backfired atrociously because she couldn't think of one thing to say that she would do differently than Joe Biden, which was like the one thing they needed her to say, which is like, I represent change, things are going to get better. And when posed with that question, she literally, on The View, she said, I can't think of a single thing. And then she got a chance again just to answer the question on Colbert. And all she could say is, look at me, I'm not Joe Biden. I mean, it's not very reassuring, is it?
And even CNN couldn't muster anything positive to say about the Harris campaign's tough week.
She had a terrible week. It was a terrible week for the Harris this campaign. You had Gretchen Whitmer having to apologize to Catholics across America for mocking them with some bizarro Dorito thing on there. You had Governor Elmer Fudd out hunting and not knowing how to load his shotgun, using the wrong gun. At the same time,
who's Governor Elmer Fudd?
Governor Walz was out there. Looked like Elmer Fudd.
Bang, bang, bang. Come out of your holes, you cowardly rabbits. Bang, bang. And I'll throw you to smithereens.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Space is exciting. It spurs our imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions. Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all.
One of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are going to see. You're going to literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
Oh my goodness.
With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is going to be unbelievable. So that's one of the things we can do here too.
Did Democrats fail, past Democratic presidents, congressional leaders, to not codify Roe v. Wade over the past 5 decades?
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
Which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work together on. And I know we will work on this together. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children. You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community. We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan. Please don't do that.
Hilarious. I see that over the summer, there have been
protests and demonstrations in astronomical numbers standing with Palestine, but then just a few days ago there were funds allocated to continue backing Israel, which hurts my heart because it's an ethnic genocide and the displacement of people, the same that happened in America, and I'm sure you're aware of this. And I bring this up also because of the issue of how Americans are struggling because of lack of health care, public health care, lack of affordable housing, and all this money ends up going to in funding Israel and backing Saudi Arabia and whatnot. And I think that the people have spoken very often in what they do need, and I feel like there's a lack of listening, and I just feel like I need to bring this up because it affects my life and people I really care about's life, and it's just something I have to do.
I'm glad you did. And again, this is about the fact that your voice, your perspective, your experience, your truth should not be suppressed. Because I represent the whole of the United States of America.
Party has pretty much blamed everything on Trump. They claim that when Biden and Harris came into the White House, the economy was a wreck, the border was a wreck, interest rates and inflation were out of control. But a simple search will show you that that's actually not true. It was 1.4% inflation when Donald Trump left the office. He also built 500 miles of the border wall and had enough materials ordered to finish it. He lowered prescription drugs. He did a lot of things for Americans. And that's why everybody loves him. Now, if you take that and put it up against Vice President Harris's accomplishments, she was in charge of the border, right? I remember when Biden gave her that responsibility. Look at what has happened. I don't even have to get into it. 10 to 20 million people have come across. We only have 350 million people in this country. Imagine that. 20 million people. God, and if she gets reelected over the next 4 years, might be another 20 million before sooner or later, the majority in our country will be people from other states. It's not just Mexicans, Hondurans. It is Iraqis. It is Afghanistan people. It is people from ISIS and the Taliban. And we just learned that, what was it, 30 or 3,000 of the people that were let in are murderers who were let go from prisons. So it's incredible that there's no backlash in the mainstream media. You know, when I went to school, I was always taught as a journalist, you are to remain impartial, report the facts. We lost that, folks. We really did. And that's a shame because we had a free press. Now, we really don't. It's become an opinionated way to make money. They're certainly not reporting the facts.
Alfred, of course, called Biden pulling out 3 days before he did it. This is all pointing to wobbles in the Harris campaign. What do you reckon? What's your read on all of this?
It's fascinating to watch the language, James, that the campaigns use. I wrote a piece at The Hill. You had a Hill piece there just on your graphic. I wrote a piece in The Hill today talking about the language that the Democrats are using, and they're starting to sort of lower expectations for Kamala Harris, to sort of maybe grease the skids that she's going to lose, but it's not her fault. They're talking now about something called the electoral system or the electoral college bias. Now it's unfair that the Democrats have to win so much more of the popular vote in order to win the presidency. Of course, the popular vote constitutionally in this country doesn't make any difference. But I think what you're seeing from Halperin, you're seeing from a lot of high-ranking Democrats inside the Kamala inner circle starting to hit the panic button. They're seeing some data that really bothers them. Now, that being said, there's some language out of the Trump campaign that makes me wonder if they're not seeing some data that worries them as well. He came out today and talked about offering tax deductibility for interest payments on cars, something that every Democrat candidate has talked about for a long time. So I think both sides are a little bit worried, but right now I think the Democrats are starting to get a little bit more worried as we get into these last 3 or 4 weeks.
And the polls are in line with Democrat thinking, with recent results showing a very tight race.
Mr. Trump is leading in every single battleground state. That is bad news for the Democratic nominee. Well, that's it, folks, for today. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know where you fall on this. Are you for Harris or Trump? Why and what reasons? You don't have to like either of them. You don't have to like Harris. You don't have to like Trump. But what you do have to do is review their policies and see if it helped you. And the question I come back to personally, Was I better off 4 years ago or now? I don't have to answer that, folks. All of you know the answer. So have a good day. Hit the like, subscribe, share, comment, but turn on your notifications so that next time this seriously psychopathic man is on, you will get notified. Peace.